That was absolutely nothing short of a disaster for the Minnesota Vikings. Hello everyone, my name's Ollie and welcome back to another episode on the Fourth and SKOL YouTube channel. Let's just rip the band-aid off. This is going to be a complete rant of a video, probably a lack of editing in there as well. But we've just got to talk about the absolute disaster, the nightmare of that game. The Vikings The Vikings got beat by the Chargers 37-10 last night on Thursday Night Football in LA. Just terrible. Absolutely terrible. It was terrible on both sides of the ball. From offense to defense, special teams as well had a bit of a shocker at times. I thought the refs also had a shocker. The pick six that was overturned, 14-point swing in the end as the Chargers drove down the field and scored a touchdown on that drive. Just lackluster performance, no heart, no energy, no fight, no grit. Just Josh McCown and Carson Wentz grinning and smiling and joking on the sidelines when you're 21-3 down at half time. What is this? We're not a joke. We're not a joke franchise. That's not the image that we want to instill. What is that? What is going on? How many times this season has Miles Price, busted out a run, got to around the halfway line for it to be pulled back? It's a joke at this point. We're constantly playing from behind. We're constantly trying to chase a lead. We can't implement our run game. Our run game, I was hoping with Aaron Jones coming back into the side, our run game would have a bit of impetus, would have a bit of fight and a life about it instead of just running and pounding the rock with Jordan Mason time and time again. But it looked even worse this time round. We were running the ball on second and long, but not running it on third and short, third and ones, third and twos. Like, what are we doing here? We've got a back with Jordan Mason that can just pound the rock, and just get the first down, just move the chains. But we're not doing it. But, there's evidence under the Kevin O'Connell era where we've just almost neglected the run a little in these situations. Something needs to change. It needs to give. In my opinion, the Vikings threw the game tonight with their decision to firstly play Carson Wentz in the first place, considering that left shoulder injury. He started the game tonight in that brace. It looked a bit of a restrictive brace as well. Clearly he wasn't happy with how that felt. And as the game developed, I just thought it was absolutely shocking, to be honest, how we just kept, putting him out there. There's one thing that the player wanting to play, but also you've got to protect the player from himself as well. And I don't think Kevin O'Connell or any of the Vikings coaching staff did that. The game was truly done, to be honest, at half time. And yeah, I would have put Brosma out there, to be honest. The game was done. Carson Wentz was continuing to get hit. And when he wasn't getting hit, it was overthrowing balls. That one to Jefferson with the interception was absolute travesty. KOC has talked about franchises failing quarterbacks, but at this point, you're failing players like Justin Jefferson and so on, and you're failing Carson Wentz himself by continuing to put himself out there. Brosma, again, he came on in the 2-minute drill. Why not just give him that 2-minute drill? Why just you let the clock run out? It just winds me up. Just give players a little bit of confidence. I know you probably just wanted to get out of there and get home and get back to Minneapolis, but just give a young player a chance. It just the whole game just absolutely wound me up. And to be honest, UK fan watching from across the pond, I got up early to watch this game on DAZN Game Pass before I started work, and yeah, thank God I didn't stay up late to watch that, because again, absolute travesty. There's just something about the Vikings playing under the lights prime time that just doesn't sit right with me. We always seem to just sort of bottle it, and I wake up in the morning and it's been an absolute battering. And that theme continues. Brian Flores as well. What are we doing? What are we doing? Do we not learn at all from last week? the constant blitz game is not going to get you anywhere when you have a quarterback who plays well against the blitz and is able to spot that tight end or wide receiver down the field. It was just infuriating why we kept going and continuing to flog that route, you know, and just continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. It's not working. It's not working. We've experienced this a little bit before with the Brian Flores defense. He does some great things, you know, in the blitz game and in that package game, but he has to switch it up a little bit or learn to adapt to play, you know, a little bit of blitz here and a little bit of coverage there. It absolutely killed us this game. And it doesn't get any easier. We've got Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. That offense will carve us up entirely if we don't switch things up. Jefferson was livid at the end of the game. I think he had to be consoled as he came off the field. I don't blame him. We're wasting the prime years of his career with, you know, indecision, inconsistency, not wanting to fight for the team. I don't care if it was a short week away in LA. We showed nothing last night. We absolutely showed nothing. We didn't want to be there. And can you blame him for being livid? I mean, he's had to endure quite a lot, to be honest. And wide receivers get, you know, a bit of a picture painted of them for being divas, and he has showed not 1 ounce of being a diva since he's been in Minnesota. But if he starts to, as this season rolls on and we keep having these game weeks of inconsistencies and lackluster performances, I won't blame him at all if he wants to throw the toys out of the pram and try and pursue a trade. It's getting beyond ridiculous at this point. Darasaur, he only played 9 snaps. There was a bit of sort of umming and ahhing. He was questionable on the injury report coming into this game. He had these pre-game workout. There was some discussions with the training staff and he decided to suit up and go. But he clearly didn't look right. KOC in his presser after said he didn't want to get into the details of last season's injury and how it's affected him this time round, but alluded to the fact that he is on a snap count, trying to manage that injury, almost like the same thing as of what Chelsea are doing with Reece James in football in the Premier League at the minute. But there comes to a point where you're either going to have to sit him or persist playing with him, because now every single game that the Vikings are going to be playing is essentially a playoff game with some huge divisional matchups coming up as well over the next, you know, few weeks and month. Yeah, you're going to have to make a decision on Darasaur. Brian O'Neill also being out on the other side didn't help things at all. You had 3 backup O-line playing with a battered Carson Wentz. It wasn't pretty. We've seen this time and time again this season. Something needs to give. We need to make a decision quick, maybe make a trade at the trade deadline or something. But yeah, something has to give, because this O-line is just battered and bruised. And yeah, it's only going to lead us down one path, unfortunately. Forgive me, we have construction work going on outside my house right now, so if you can hear any interference or pickup from the mic, excuse me, but I had to get this rant out here. I had to get it off my chest because it will just sit with me all weekend otherwise. Justin Herbert continued to scramble through that A and B gap time and time again, over and over and over again, picking up, you know, first down after first down. You know, Josh Metellus and Harrison Smith look slow out there. All in all, it was a very sorry performance from the Vikings again in prime time. They have to fix up fast. This season will quickly fall away from them if they don't. We've got Detroit away, in Detroit next up after the mini bye. Hopefully we'll have some players back from injury. Should hopefully see Van Ginkel back, Brian O'Neill back, potentially Darasaur, depending on his knee situation, and hopefully the main one, JJ McCarthy. Things can't continue with Carson Wentz. I think that's quite frank in my opinion. He's too battered and bruised. You know, his ego's damaged now. The deed has been done with the Vikings fans as well. It'll get ugly if KOC continues to play him. I think as long as JJ is healthy, and I don't understand why there wouldn't be a reason why he wouldn't be healthy. It's the JJ McCarthy show going forward and beyond, and that is that. We're in the toughest division in football. The NFC North is stacked yet again. And if we don't pick up a win or two in a division, it's done. It's game over. And we'll have to look forward again to next season. I'll end with this. This team is way too talented to put out performances like that. KOC himself included. We've got Jefferson, Addison. We've got some of the best wide receivers in the game. We're doing them an absolute disservice right now. We need to grow up and show up, and it's going to be all on that Detroit Lions game. What Vikings team is going to show up? What kind of character are you going to put on the line? Is your heart going to be on the line for this team? If not, get on out of here. But yes, guys, let us know your thoughts down below. I had to put a rant out there just to get it off my chest. But thanks very much for watching and listening. And as always, through the tough times and the good times, SKOL Vikes.